No, it's a Syndicate mirror.
Ah,
So I think
yeah.
this is actually how we started off EnergiiX's series yesterday.
Yeah, and wasn't it today? No, today it was different, but yeah, it is Syndicate versus Syndicate, so Jackpot on blue versus Lined Pockets on red. Kazuya with double Open Sesame and double Shady Vendor in hand. That might get insane amounts of carryover into the graveyard if you have the time to set it up, because well, there is Madame in EnergiiX's hand,
Yeah.
and she is not bricked, and she is flying, not flying. Maybe you decide that your opponent will be doing slow plays, so you preserve it. And indeed, we see the lead with Beggar.
Any diamonds
And
for
just
little
an
me?
engine. The
Yeah,
order is interesting for the two then. Any reason in particular that Beggar led the charge?
yeah, like you're not worried about a brawler since there wasn't
Okay,
any
yeah,
like
yeah.
access to coins. Since you're going first, so there was no need to worry about brawlers. So, yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't lead off with the. Wait, oh no, it's not Tiger's Eye. So yeah, you needed the board in this list, I think. Wait, is it? I can't remember. Too many Syndicate lists. Bounty comes through. Passy Pichu's gonna get cleaned up. But we have double Beggar, double Soul Raider on board here for EnergiiX, and both players a full coin bank.
So how do you feel
Kazuya's
as a player when your opponent didn't slam the Madam on the as a first card in the round? Don't you feel like offended every time on ladder? I see everyone slams the Madam turn 1, and you actually had it in hand and didn't play it out. And surprise, surprise, we actually have the pass, but not a tempo one, just a normal pass.
Fine. Yeah, so this is a like really secret thing in Gwent, but you don't actually need to play Madden Lucky Serenity turn 1, round 1. You can save her for future rounds, especially against a deck like this one here, where if you're able to get a bit of overprof on the Madam turn, get her out of range of the Horson Jr. Insanity click, then it can be quite difficult to deal with the Madam and the Horse that she summons out.
So chat, I hope you're taking notes, because yeah, this is some groundbreaking stuff from Lemon. They don't really teach that in Gwent schools anymore.
You need to get to Gwent University.
Yeah.
It's a higher level of education, which you'll only find at Novigrad, or maybe actually Oxenfurt would have been a better tie through there. But immediate slamming off the locations from both players. Novigrad on the side of Kazuya, Candle on the side of EnergiiX, inside Plunder gonna pull out a Siege Jackal, so having a spender on both sides, and now to respond it's going to be the Madam, since Kazuya has gone now down past that 7 card mark. So it's if EnergiiX is able to stay ahead, that will mean card advantage going into the round 3. But Flangerdanian soaring back out onto the board for both players. And it's very quick gameplay coming through here.
And the Arena Ghoul. And the question is, why is it here? Well, it has a category onto itself, so might be one of the reasons. As in the deck is okay, let's see the crime, mutagens, eavesdrop, fully Neventine, so crime into crime. When you go down that road, it's just crime after crime. You start listening to like secret talks, start trading in the secrets. But yeah, there is the Sigeruven that is getting profit for each unique category, so you need to add something. And one thing that EnergiiX added was the poison onto the Sea Jackal, causing Kazuya's retreat from the round, but it comes at the cost already, being a card down. So, Candle established on both sides. Kazuya doesn't have a card, but has a card from Novigrad, so It kind of balances itself out a little bit. You get a bronze, maybe
Except there's also 3 open sesames in the graveyard though, so I think even though you're hard down here, there is decidedly more carryover on the side of Kazuya. And despite having only 5 cards in deck here, EnergiiX is missing both the Soul and the Philippa. So we'll see what the decision is on what you choose to get with the Decree. There is the double poison in the Fistek and Salamandra failed experiment for EnergiiX, but you're not going to want to sit on the failed experiment click. You will need to use it straight away because Kazuya is able to high roll a poison from their Uneventide Plunder. So see Reuven profiting a lot here, going very tall.
He was saved by the candle to play around the junior, but Morils coming from the bank, considering there is not that many cards, was quite likely with a full bank. I mean, quite likely, as in should be close to doable. But yeah, considering the KOB was still in the deck, so it was out of 7 cards, and Morils in this deck has Tribute 6, so could have low rolled.
I think EnergiiX, you would have preferred the opponent to miss the Moros for sure, but at least now you know it's out. It means that the Captain Yago is going to be saved. You can go as tall as you like on the Captain Yago without worry. But the issue is that now this Caesar Blitzen is not good, to say the least. It can get the extra 2 profit on the Coast Blacksmith, but...
Yeah, your Royal Decree also doesn't... Okay, you can steal the second Cursed Blacksmith and get extra 2 coins to those, but... yeah, that's not why Caesar builds an Easen deck, considering he costs 8 provisions. And he is also quite a bad spender.
Yeah, like you compare these spenders. The only way for EnergiiX to get something better than a 1-for-1 spending rate is through this candle. Whereas Kazuya managed to roll the Eternal Fire Disciple from the Untied Plunder. That's a nice 2-for-1 spender that you can click each turn. And the Oxenfurt Guard is a 4-for-2, which is effective 2-for-1 spender when you get to the bottom of your coin bank as well, which if you're able to stay near that 0 coin threshold, the Novigrad giving you a little bit each turn to get to that point where you can click on the Oxenfurt Guard, it's going to get a lot further mileage out of coinage than EnergiiX will.
So yeah, those sesames are getting ready, at the moment still a bit far away, but considering the lined pockets leader would be... this Acherontia will be cooking quite soon, but it can only cook up some bronze cards. Question is, can you combine them somehow to collect the bounty and reactivate her immediately?
We must negotiate.
Here's the issue. I don't think you're going to have enough coins. Actually, hang on. How's the King of Beggars? Okay, if you go for the Moro 6 tribute, which you kind of need to go before the Philippa, I think. Because otherwise you can be struggling a bit for the coinage. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of an awkward sequencing here for EnergiiX. But you do know at least that you could float the failed experiment for 1 turn here. Since there are no more Eventide Plunders, you could play it and then have the Fistek the following turn. Could open up a bit of different sequencing choices. But yeah, it's going to be a very late Soul coming through. Simply because there isn't enough coinage for the Philippa. I'm going to spend on the Soul enough to get it to 9.
Doesn't
Right,
really
still in range.
doesn't really help, yeah, dealing with the junior catching you up. And yeah, this is the Sesame. Next trigger is the final one, so... Can go and spend with the candle 2 times, setting you exactly onto the Sesame trigger. I don't know, Captain Yago kinda dropped and I didn't even notice the oomph of that turn. Of course, we do see EnergiiX being ahead here.
And here comes the Acherontia, so going to be getting a lot of immediate value here with the Open Sesame set up in the graveyard already. So,
Stereo coming is not that great, but there is a junior. And yeah, look at this Morils. He can of course have some Morils on Morils action, but that's not amazing. The poison also needs money,
Yeah.
and you don't really swim in that, and your target's kind of questionable.
I think
So decides to get the Flying Ardanian with a full bank first, and then see.
You will not stand in the way of my master's plans. I won't let you.
So there is another one for Kirontia, but this time around it's just money from the crime. You are not getting paid for that, but you are like double the points almost ahead, so...
Yeah, look, the standard, you can't get any value from the bounty, but it does end up giving you 4 coins with this leader. And with the Oxenfurt Guard, that turns into 6 points, so it's not a bad top deck at all. And yeah, quite a dominant round 3 there, despite being a card down for Kazuya.
GG's for the game number 1. This is the final, so yeah, we skipped one of the semi-finals, so like... One of the players skipped one of the semi-finals, so we had to skip it too. But now time to see the Self-Wound mirror, and it means that Skellige Self-Wound will win, unless they tie, but they will play till one of the sides wins. So we won't be seeing any more mirrors of it today. But two philosophies, yeah. Go.
It's totally not a mirror because Kazuya's running Portal, but EnergiiX has a Neuromancy, so it's
does he now? Does he really? Deck. Is he playing a Neuromancy? I don't see it. I do see the Portal just dropping. Ooh, there you go. 10 points, all in one, 11 provision card. Yes. I don't see a Neuromancy. I might be blind though. Okay, maybe the Moon Berserkers are not the best cards to play against the Armored Drakkar, but... Oh, see, Oneiromancy from Maxi. You can see it in your dreams. Like, maybe Sintian is sleeping now and, dreaming of this Oneiromancy at the bottom of the deck. That can be what's happening. Do you need Oneiromancy? I didn't pay attention. I was too focused, tunnel visioned on that Oneiromancy. I don't know what Maxi was showing other than this.
I didn't realize you took your Neuromancy so seriously. Your study of dreams, your dreaming of a Neuromancy. Quite meta.
Yeah. Oh, look, also, Matahuri, bringing you the card you missed. Oneiromancy, still potentially at the bottom of the deck. But there is a world where this will be reversed. Just let Kazuya play this deck 2-3 more times in the tournament, and maybe it would be like, oh, no portal, unlucky. And you have all the portal targets in your hand. Unfortunate, you have to play some of them. All your homies hate on the Necromancers. Yeah.
Oh man, I've completely lost all my trains of thought now.
Your magic can't
I'm
harm
sorry,
me.
yeah. See, now you play Maxi. It only shows you like 10 cards. Yeah, good thinning. Good stuff. You can figure out what you draw in, and yeah, don't see this 12 provision echo card at the bottom of your deck. You feel better, like, at the moment, if you are measuring morale, Kazuya is in a much better state because of no Necromancy.
So it's, in terms of the engine potential for both players, it's somewhat even, with the priest being active every turn passively, but the adept isn't nearly as good a target as the Drakar. So early Spellboard coming up from EnergiiX, and this is the downside of Portal is it's multiple units, which goes wider and it kind of falls prey to the Spellblood. So good bit of immediate value for EnergiiX, able to get ahead. But it's going to be a bit of a struggle to trigger the Spellblood additional times here. And Greatsword is an amazing pull from this K-Troll for Kazuya. It immediately heal to full, just about, if this Spellblood gets triggered again. And yeah, just a nice 10-point play in this case. But Drakar going to keep on doing pirate things. It's quite tall and could end up being a bit of a tempting heatwave target if Kazuya really feels the need to get out of this round and tries to actually get that round win, not lose on even. It's just going to be K-Troll to match for now. Longship.
Longship is not brilliant, but considering the rounded short, it's nothing to be worried about. You get a profit on it from Sigvald, although yeah, you don't really bleed more. Interesting, the Swolbot is getting answered, but I guess there is quite a few big units with Abominations, Maxi, Mata being on board that still does the damage even if your Greatsword is killing up. So, do we see Heatwave being played in this situation as a separation? Maybe a bit too early considering you just played Sigvald on board.
Magic is a curse, a blessing and progress.
So Gwent doesn't get ahead here. It gives EnergiiX the chance to pass and take a 2-card advantage here.
But pass is always a bait, right?
Always, yeah. Pass button, you don't need to ever press that, just keep playing. And yeah. You at least get that Heatwave out. Now it's a little bit tougher to get ahead here. I'm not sure if you'd rather have first say or last say in around 3 in this matchup. I think it really depends. Like, it's gonna change depending on what's already been spent in the game so far. But both players having K-Troll sitting on board here going into the round 2, it's gonna be Kazuya's decision whether to bleed or not.
Oh, see, a Necromancy, it happened.
Yeah.
And all the things are fixed now because Necromancy is here and you can play both Knut and Sigvald in the different rounds. Okay, so what's missing here? Draka Turtle is missing for Kazuya. Opens with Totem. Both players have card rolled, so not sure who has the card roll the advantage at the moment.
Yeah. Notably, Kazuya doesn't have any unit that really works well with the K-Troll in hand, unless you commit the Sigriffus right onto that Sigvald here. Whereas the Orchid and the Draco Turtle both work a lot better with the cave troll things.
Okay, players kinda constructed a Swolblood totem on the board before the Sigvald was there. You have the foundation of Cartroll and then, yeah, fanatics all around it. But we're trying to repeat one after another. Now, though, Sigvald is not the play EnergiiX will be taken here. Plays Dracaturtle. Does he try to get ahead here? Yeah, I mean, he's ahead because of the
With
bleed.
this placement, EnergiiX could run the risk of, if the Swallowed comes down here from Kazuya, it could just straight up kill both of EnergiiX's Bear Abominations before they get a chance to flip. If there's... I think if the bear spawns first, we'll see that coming through here.
Okay, so the flip happens. The bleeds are collected. Oh, somebody asked. That's why you run the Purify Peller. To purify your enemies is Sigvald in a mirror. Matol was just not precise enough.
So this also means that the Canute is a lot less scary because there isn't a super big buffed up Sigvald to put get a bigger target for this Canute to hit. Yeah, it's only dealing 3 damage right now, and that's really just not that great. Swablood's going to keep doing Swablood things. This Draco Turtle almost doesn't have any more armor remaining. And what are we gonna use the Cave Hold here for Kazuya? Probably just saving it for the very last turn, to where you just duel the opposing Draco Turtle, get a bunch of bleeding on the Sigvald, and then kill off an friendly unit. And just get as much bleed as possible that way. So with that in mind here, for EnergiiX, you have access to the Heatwave from an Aeromancy, and with Sidrifa's Riot already gone from Kazuya, it's basically just an answer at this point. Like, you don't need to worry about any interactions with the graveyard. We're opting to go for the Canute instead of that potential Aeromancy, and I like this. So you're making the Draco Turtle smaller, and it lessens that potential play of Kazuya using that Chaos Troll to have the Sigvald bashing into that Draco Turtle to get a lot of bleeding.
Yeah. Okay, another board explosion, and by the looks of it, another one and another one. Sometimes not really beneficial. But here, all in from Kazuya, getting 25 points ahead. Well, there is the immune unit, immune to damage unit that you can clash with and also hit with Knut. But considering you have your leader charges, this is exactly enough, and you get a card advantage. And we see the forfeit. There was Dracaturtle, but no really meaningful ways. Okay, you needed to draw the Dracaturtle Mardrome to have a chance. Mirror. So EnergiiX gets through and claims that Oneromancy is superior.
Moving forward now, we are tied up in the series 1-1. It's going to be back to the blue queen here for EnergiiX. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Syndicate coming out again, the jackpot being played. Okay.
But okay, and EnergiiX surprises us, I don't know, no Syndicate here.
Yeah, my prediction just completely wrong for both players here. Guess I have to eat my words. Just like these chimeras are going to try to eat these drones.
So, EnergiiX's deck definitely swarms. Kazuya can contribute to it with a couple of spies and also Spies from the usurper operatives might be kept on the other side of the board if EnergiiX is not precise with his board filling. And since you don't really have control over where the extra drone from Organic's gonna spawn, that might lead to some break-in. There is the Wispus tribute, there is a Riptide who have row restrictions, and Yennefer herself, of course. And the second point I want to make is this Yennefer being a card that buffs everything on the board. Well, when you coup her and play her on your own side, you can't revert the damage or buffs the effect immediately, playing her onto the opposite row. So, need to be very careful with the cards in this match, the EnergiiX that is. On the other side, you don't really go too tall, so that's denying some poison value.
This heavy cavalry is about to get to that 5 armor threshold, which makes something like this Chimera a lot less good if it ends up chunking a whole lot of damage. With that in mind, I think EnergiiX wants to get out before that heavy cavalry becomes a problem, and it won't really be a worry here as Kazuya passes at 7, which we've seen this kind of play from Aristocrats a lot.
And the dock is also thinning itself out of the deck. So the good cards should be coming. There is the Golden Necker somewhere that you cannot really tutor. Location, I think that's the only location in the deck, so it goes back immediately.
Yeah, there is 5 golds in deck right now for EnergiiX, so the Naglfar has a decent shot at finding the Golden Necker. Now with only 4 golds in deck, it's 50-50 if that Golden Necker would be found. There's really no damage apart from this. Actually, yeah, there's no access to the mage infiltrator in hand here, so there's no real way to punch through the shield of the Siri Nova, since it can't gain any statuses.
A problem best
So
solved.
for now, a slow start from Aristocrats, not really committing to a round yet, but we do see a leader charge EnergiiX playing Organic, starting to swarm the board. You want that opening for Yennefer. We also see that Ku is somewhere in the deck with Roderick, so no access to the instant reverse Yennefer.
Typically, like at this point in the round, you'd expect a Dane to be played before this Aristocrats, because these Aristocrats have a deploy that gets some value based on spying already on the board. The Danes don't have that sort of equivalent play, so it's my sort of tell EnergiiX that I'm lacking a Dame. I don't have that sort of engine value here.
Okay, so there is an agent.
You weren't expecting this, were you?
I guess Aristocrat or my agent was kept on top with Masquerade traveling to the bottom. Beautiful points
Very
from
nice.
Chimera, you'll have to see that. There is more where this came from.
Yeah, solid 14-point Chimera. And this pikeman can be a bit annoying. If it bleeds the 1 power drones, then it forces some board boost to go through that turn, lest the swarm kind of be killed off.
EnergiiX.
Secondly, the charge from EnergiiX to maximize the value on the second Chimera. And look at this point gap, it's getting quite large already. And yes, no Dane to pair up with a pikeman makes it a lot less threatening. Because, yeah, the bleeding doesn't work with this Aristocrats. It just doesn't get the value.
We also seen Chimera consume one of the drones with the spine, so seditious aristocrat decided to rush to the board to gain the points from whatever is left there with the spine, but 8 points. We do see the Nagelfar. It's not the best, but it's not the worst, as at least you are not running any risk of 50-50. You are answering one of the engines that would be getting even more points with something like this Usurper. Also, we do see Usurper coming in rather earlier than later, because otherwise you won't just spawn the operatives because row is full. So you'd need to wait for the bleeds go through and for EnergiiX to actually pass to open up space. So yeah, Kazuya decides to play the general form of Usurper already here. It also produces 3 units for him, so playing into defense from Yennefer in some form, but as we talked about the coup, EnergiiX might be not really interested in just flipping the card back and forth.
Gentlemen, to work.
So, a bit interesting to see the Riptide not being committed there. Might be trying to save that for round 3. I'm not quite sure how a short run looked like for EnergiiX. The Cien still hasn't been played. You've got to worry about that coup being an eventual draw for Kazuya here.
Yeah,
If it's not in hand already, then you expect it to be found by round 3, especially after all the shenanigans of the Ardfiend deck shuffling going through.
so in theory it should be your finisher to play around the coup, but I don't know, like it's not Masquerade Ball, if that would be found from the Roderick, is also providing some extra unit to the board. Emir playing 2 in one go, so the unit balance would be interesting to see. Like, it's not that EnergiiX has too many ways of swarming now.
And ooh, gets the 2 Dames, but gonna need to rely on an Emir top deck to gain access to this bowl. Not a great servant pull from this Joachim. Yeah. So yeah, you go for the Joachim first here to try to thin out a little bit, like thin out an extra card, make the Emir a bit more likely to get into those golds that you so desperately need here. So that is the dominance taken though, so these riders won't be able to summon the second copy.
Is it the deny of Joachim that EnergiiX is considering here? Yes. So that coup, if you pick up that from Emir, will be less exciting, but yeah, we do see the Emir, we do see the Roderick. There are still Aristocrats in hand.
Punishment for traitors.
A superb specimen, truly.
Yeah, Roderick Pool is probably the best case scenario for the Emir, which I think that was set up by the Ardfiend here.
Yeah.
Gives you the ability to either go for the bolt, which you can fully proc with this Dame and Hunter, or go for that coup if there is a possibility of targeting that yen.
Out of the way, rabble!
But your best poison target is a 9, which is not much.
Is it?
Huh? Emir though, just doing all the yoinks would be annoying for this Yennefer, so you're probably playing natural selection just for the swarm purposes here.
Yeah, I think Yeah, okay. With the imposter leader out here, you don't need to worry about the Riptide being copied anymore. So you can just play it back row.
Don't ask
10
a lady
points.
her age. It's unbecoming.
The back row is getting a bit too swarmed with the units though, since you have
Yeah.
Doldolok there, it won't be that nice and plain. The Riptide front row is not really a good option either. It's okay, but
Yeah,
not
back row a
brilliant.
bit
It
too
doesn't produce a unit, doesn't remove a unit from other side of the board. Your drones are betraying you left and right.
I wonder what my snares would have captured this time.
And yeah, this is the problem of Yennefer quite often in the current Gwent. Like, bam, offensive one. And doesn't
Yeah,
really
that-
achieve much.
hurts. That hurt my soul, so unfortunate. The threat of the coup just warps this whole matchup and puts the Yen in a very suboptimal position, and we see Kazuya moving up to match point in the series now, match point in the finals. Just needs to take a win with the self wound.
Go, EnergiiX needs to win twice against the self wound. And
So last matchup we were talking about how it's difficult playing Yen into Ku. In this matchup we should probably talk about how difficult it is playing Swarm into the Svalbard. And Svalbard can come back with the Sigrifa's Right as well. And you don't have Heatwave or Graveyard Punish to deal with that Sigrifa's Right threat.
okay, so when we were talking about the bans, how did that happen? That we actually are witnessing Swarm versus the Ursen Ritual. Let me go back to the ban screen. I guess the Siege would not be an easier match when they have a bunch of machines killing your small drones.
Music marries
It's-
cultures, connects folk to one another.
Probably would have had the best time against the Syndicate. So yeah, maybe needed to just queue the monsters straight away in this series to try to get into that matchup.
our sacrifice!
But okay, good luck to EnergiiX. Maybe there are lines that
Yeah.
he can find, but we do see the Soul Blood is loaded and ready to go into the explosive mode.
And also Kazuya's running these berserkers as well, which are just extra ways to get bears on board if the Svalbard is able to stick. Now, with the Power Nurse to Svalbard, once he's done a bit of damage, you'd expect something like even a natural selection should be enough to take him out. There is also this Seikwan, which can do the trick as well.
Continent folk will never understand.
So, like, shouldn't stick for long, but even just on deploy, the value that it gets in one turn is insane. And all you need to do is just wipe out the drones, and then all the swarm payoff just won't get any value.
And well, there is the situation when the portal is stuck in the deck. Maybe you can force this Wall Blood early. It's just that, yeah, it comes back. We'll see. It's an uphill battle for the Swarm always against this beast of a bear.
Yeah, I like this a lot. EnergiiX getting a good point gap already, threatening to win on even. There's the portal and the KO Troll, and okay, Heatwave doesn't matter that much in this matchup, but some nice cards towards the top. But that is Draco Total close to the bottom of the deck, which, yeah, there's not as many tall things to duel with in this matchup. You would still like to draw the Draco Total, and with no Neomancy, it's not possible to tutor it out here.
But Yeah, from EnergiiX's point of view, you can build up the lead. Like, oh yes, I'm 15 points ahead. It doesn't matter with the Swell Blood, so you
Yeah.
kind of need to continue playing, and at some point you'll start to exhaust your resources for the shorter round swarm as well, and then the second Swell Blood is still something to think about. There's like no squirrel, no heatwave angles of getting rid of it. Okay, I lagged for a second and I thought that Gwent is trying to crash, but apparently we're fine. Then give me a scare. The swarm pays off with chimeras. It's double the points now. No way anything in Skellige can catch up. Look at this. Why is Kazuya even risking playing into that, being so many points down? I wonder what he has in mind.
Okay. Early verification here. But yeah. That's only the vial getting transformed. So doesn't matter too much.
I think we're also seeing EnergiiX actually consuming the taller drones, just because the small one is supposed to be killed off by the explosions, so no need to spread the point.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a bit surprised that Kazuya's actually been killing off these drones, because that does sort of minimize the spell blood value as well, rather than just damaging something a bit taller with all this Canute clicks. But going to get ahead here is Kazuya.
Why is Skellige in front now when it was just double the points behind? I don't understand. And now, yes, you reset the Knut, the Sigvald, but Knut can still find targets to hit. And the slow decay of Sigvald is not that important. But okay, resources are being spent here. Like, this is the second Swoldwood that we were talking about left in the hand of Kazuya.
Yeah, so Nova gets ahead here, and then Kazuya either loses uneven with this Nova already on board, or has to use up this Sigdrifer's Right, and then we're not seeing any more Spellblood in this game.
Okay, so decision has been made. The plan is to try and win round one.
Yeah, at least get a bit of damage through with this Canute, get this Nova chunked down a bit, minimize that resilience value, and then bring the Canute back now and finish the Nova off. Well, okay, put it to 1 power.
Yeah, cannot even finish it off unless... Bam! There we go. I mean, he draws into Portal and Fire Troll, so those are pretty good cards to have. But, like, Swarm is up for grabs for EnergiiX now. There are limited ways how... Like, there is a couple of Drum and Berserker pings, but other than that, not much in terms of control of small units available.
It's probably a bit too short of a round to even bleed for Kazuya, but I think you might need to do it anyways. And this Carried Troll, I don't think it's even going to be getting that much value here anyways.
Okay.
Like, we're not going to get Draco Turtle to get the additional armor value.
Carried Troll is massive, just look how you roll the Marauder from it. There we go.
God damn it. Unlucky for EnergiiX.
I was prepared.
Kazuya. In the back of my mind, I just knew it was going to happen as well. It always does. Yeah, even if the Drake Turtle did come out here, there would be that curse from EnergiiX to respond with. So it's going to be a lot of leader charges. Are we going...
Okay, so it was
Yeah, for this
preparation
Arachis
for
picking.
both Yen and Arachis, I suppose.
Yeah. Nice.
Heatwave not really feeling that hot. The pool should be the pinging one. So yeah, I wouldn't. This was what, 5 points? The alternative was 7, so wouldn't be enough. Huh.
So,
Okay. How is how is Kazuya winning now? Without the Draco Turtle as well, because that was at the like second to last card, so you can clash. There is limited swarm, but there is some swarm. The COC is not looking too hot, but Mahaka Mail with the COC last say is an option, you see.
yeah, and I think with this, it's pretty obvious that, say, no Draco Turtle has been found. Otherwise, you definitely would have played that first here.
You best yield
And it's
now.
going to be very nice. Yun into the spontaneous evolution to get a few more drones here, get that bone talisman set up. And then Goldilocks. With the kite mirror. This is what this monsters list wants to do. Things to nothing. Great short round, getting exactly what you like from the Golden Nega here. And yeah, we said at the outset this was going to be a tough matchup. But to get around that, EnergiiX just played a really strong round one, committed hard, and forced a lot out of Kazuya.
Not the self COC, no! Why would you roll 50-50 when you don't need it? Using up your luck, unluck, I guess. Things can happen, and this is the finalist match of the finalist matches that is upcoming here. Jackpot versus Self-Wound. Of the winner takes all 11. A nice prediction, Slamon predicted the decks and the coins.
elven folk tune.
And Portal, not in hand. Mata, not in hand. Kaertrode, not in hand. Svalbard, not in hand. Okay. Double Dwimviandra though. So hot right now.
Life's short. Enjoy it.
It still annoys me to no avail that Dwimviandra totem interaction doesn't do anything. Like, I understand why the Dwimviandra was reworked, it was a problematic card, but the fact that you can do nothing, oh, that was a very fast thing for me to register from the...
Yeah, if that fast for Maxi probably means a shuffle straight away, I would assume.
Accept our sacrifice!
Knees are drowning in shite, but
So EnergiiX once again being aware that Madame Marquis Serenity is not the card that you have to play. So keeps her, starts with Thinning and Engine.
This could be... Look, this is a very wide board for EnergiiX, and ordinarily, you'll always have this little thought in the back of your mind going, what if my opponent just plays Svalbard to contest the round one? We see the Svalbard is missing, and it's actually just going to be a pass from Kazuya here after 3 cards. So yeah, quite heads up from EnergiiX, definitely did not need to commit the Madame Marquis Serenity, and now has a very nice opportunity to bleed with the all the passive floor workers and
the
take them
droves.
out on an expedition to Skellige.
The droves, look. Kaertrode is here. Mata came to party. And the
Portals.
final Svalbard. Okay, yeah. So
Now Portal would be found from the matter, so wouldn't be surprised to see that. But
This way.
Matter sort of just lengthens the round, and when the opponent just established these 3 engines in the Madden play, the Matter doesn't feel very good. So instead it's going to be Trolled to lead here, set up this duel to be able to answer maybe some of these bronzes the following turn.
Fire and iron.
So kinda need to not get Philippot, as you mentioned in the previous games where we were talking about those potential matchups coming up later. Everything is up for grabs, like Knut, Svolblad, Sigvald, depending on the board state situation. As of now, like... Ah, okay, we do get a pass. EnergiiX decides to lock us into a 10-card round.
Maybe just knowing this would require a bigger commitment unless Kazuya were to go 2 cards down and oh gosh. I had a mini heart attack with the Flying Redanian coming back.
Yeah, I mean, calculated and all, but when there are bleeds and things jumping out, sometimes nasty things happen, but all was under control. Okay, so the last missing component, Draco Turtle, is here. You cannot really break the portal if you draw it, because Mata just picks up something else, and if you don't need something else, although Sigdriff was right, is active, since Svolblad traveled into the graveyard, there is something for you to grab. All is good for that portal self-wound. I guess verification is missing.
And EnergiiX has to choose between either the Caesar or the Captain Yago on this decree. But it might not end up feeling that bad if Kazuya uses, say, the Clash to deal with the Siggy Reuven as soon as he comes down.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I would not be surprised to see that coming through. And Matol pulling the second copy off the beggar for EnergiiX, when you're getting a 4P like that, that doesn't feel bad at all. Like, it's the second one is gonna be playing for Profit 5. Very good with the Jackpot Leader.
Okay.
And early Clash coming up from Draco Turtle, which you can be a bit loose with all these clashes because you do have the Double Doom in hand and no threat off the artifact removal. But since this is an off turn for the Arcade Troll, it does give a chance for this Sal to stick. But okay, never mind. The Canute with the Totem is going to be enough to kill it off here.
This does de-armor the Draco Turtle, sadly, for Kazuya. And okay, speaking of the Philippa, there we are. Oh, a beautiful synergy between Knut and Flying Redanian. You just kill it off in 3 turns, and then you definitely get to 9 coins at some point.
Yeah. So yeah, there's sort of 2 reasonings. I think last time I was casting, I did a whole analogy of like cheese sandwiches, but a Self-Ruined deck has 2 main parts in it. You have the cards that want to be hit and the cards that do the hitting. So if you're playing against Self-Ruined, you want to really focus on shutting down one of those 2 parts. And with one of the K-Troll charges already being used up, there's only 2 more domes that can be played. If you steal this Canute, you deny the Sigdriff's right onto the Canute, you can just make it so that Kazuya doesn't have the opportunity to damage their own units. So things like this Sigvald, things like this Draco Turtle don't have the actual follow-up for them to get a lot of value.
That's the only virtue.
Yeah. And you still have the poisons and the Morels to deal with the threats if they get out of hand with Mardromes, etc. So, yeah. I absolutely love the fact that you need to spend 3 turns hitting the Flying Redanian to just get it back. This is what Gwent is really all about, those yeah, like between the faction synergies, and that's why bring Arena back. I don't know. We were just reminiscing about Arena in chat yesterday during the rerun. Give me arena back instead of the draft mode, please.
Maybe we just need to make Canute a dual faction card, just like Sucrus, and then you can run a Sucrus Canute Flying Redanium package in Syndicate. That would be fun.
Okay, so one of your big cards is poisoned. Second one is under the threat of Morils. Fun times.
Yeah. And okay, so we have Spores and Heatwave here as 12 punishes for Kazuya. Might even just be Heatwave coming out as soon as the Siggy comes down. Or maybe a Spores into some, like a offensive Sigurd or Draco Turtle with the Trolled. As well would work.
I value adventures only independence can provide.
I'm not even sure what this Heatwave ends up heatwaving, because I imagine it's just gonna be a Yargo last say, or it probably deals with a King of Beggars coming out.
Premium grade won't find
We
any
could be
gap.
struggling a bit for spenders here for EnergiiX, since there's only the candle right now.
I mentioned the missed verification. That might have been quite helpful here.
True.
Although looking all the cards make sense, but maybe one Mardrum could have been a miss, and instead could have been. Okay, so we do get the Draco Turtle now. Something tall is allowed to stay, but this means that yeah, the Soul Blood has been played, and that's the final action of him in earlier rounds.
So, yes, I think it's correct here. You don't want to try to protect the Siggy here by boosting with the candle. You'll just feed a bigger Draco Turtle Jewel, really, or play into this Heatwave, depending on what Kazuya decides to use for the answer. I think it makes sense to use the Draco Turtle here. And then do we just go for a kind of sad Spores? No, it's going to be Heatwave onto the candle, which you don't need the verification. You can get rid of the spender that way.
Alright.
And it does mean that, however, if you spend on the Morals Tribute, then there's no way for this King of Beggars to die. So should be fine for spending here for Kazuya.
Yeah, I don't know.
As for EnergiiX.
I mean, it can potentially still die to like an offensive Mardrum.
True.
But do you
And
lose
that's
to
what we
offensive
speak in later
Mardrum?
round.
Not. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
with the leader onto the Draco Turtle, yeah, there will be some point in flux still
Yeah.
from opposing sides. Might as well play around stuff.
So it's not going to be a huge Yago here. It's only going to be 12 coins being spent in this final turn before the Yago hits the board. But it ought to be big enough, especially after this only 5-point Spores being used defensively onto this matter.
Yeah, so all this talk about Swarm being problematic to be played against the Self-Wound, and we end up with EnergiiX taking the series, taking the match, and yeah, winning. The winner takes all 11. It's 11 because we had a lot of best of sevens in meanwhile, but this was an 8-player tournament. Sadly, didn't get to play in the semi-final, but I guess EnergiiX is not too fussed about missing one of the matches today. So yeah, if you're playing in any tournaments, please use your alarm clocks and just follow more or less the plans of organizers, I suppose. GG's, congratulations, EnergiiX. is the winner. So hope you guys enjoyed the matches. I guess I can also fix the score here. So we also got the five game series, which is always nice for the final.
Yeah. Always nice coming down to that naval bite out, and yeah, very well played from both players. And I think, yeah, some tough matchups there for both the Araka Swarm and the Jackpot. So able to get them both through for EnergiiX, quite impressive to see.